Welcome back to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. My name is Lydia and I am your host and a wedding photographer based in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. Today we have another combo of bride and wedding vendor chat, which I know you guys love. I am speaking to the lovely Shivana, co-founder of 4 Words. You may have heard of them. They create custom engagement rings and fine jewellery with lab-grown diamonds. We chat through her wedding week, which consisted of multiple Indian wedding events and also a Western wedding, handling a very last-minute venue change, and so much incredible advice, including having a good perspective and attitude throughout wedding planning. We also chat about the whole jewellery side of things, how 4 Words started, where the idea sparked from that made Shivana and her partner Vinny create this. We talk through what the difference is between lab-grown and natural diamonds, what the process is like working with 4 Words, things you should look out for when choosing your ring. We chat through some current trends and what Shivana thinks we'll be seeing more of. We also touch on some exciting things coming up with 4 Words and Shivana's other businesses that she has on the go that I think you'll be interested in too. This was a really inspiring chat and I know you're going to get a lot out of it. Shivana has so much wisdom. You have probably seen her pop up on your Instagram or TikTok feed, sharing all about her life, beautiful fashion content, 4 Words, and so much more. A little peek behind the curtain, we had a lot of technical issues in the recording of this, none of which was Shivana's fault, was all on my side, and my internet was not playing ball that day. But yeah, I just want to thank Shivana for being so gracious throughout all of that. And this is multiple clips stitched together in the edit, but hopefully you don't even notice. Make sure you listen all the way through and jump on over to Instagram at the Kiwi Wedding Podcast to check out some photos from Shivana's wedding and from 4 Words too. Give us a follow while you're there and let me know what you think. Enjoy episode 42 with Shivana. Hi Shivana, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast today. I always love these episodes when I get to chat to someone who's working in the wedding industry and also recently married themselves, so having both perspectives. But yeah, thank you for being here.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to chat all things wedding and engagement.
We're going to chat a bit about your wedding and then, business side of things with 4 Words. And yeah, so just to get started, if you could tell me a bit about you and your partner, how you guys met and yeah, your life together.
Yeah, absolutely. So my partner's name is Vinny. So we met in Dunedin. So we both studied at Otago. We were both doing summer school. So it was kind of random that I ended up doing summer school in the first place. Me and my best friend, we didn't really need to, but we were just like, oh, it'd be cool to just kind of take the load off the year, do a couple papers, and just kind of have a fun summer in Dunedin together. So we ended up doing that and we kind of banded together with all of the other possible people that we knew in Dunedin, just because there's not many people around during summer school. He was like a friend of a friend, and we had like a BYO, and we met at the BYO, and yeah, kind of the rest is history from there. So that was back in 2013. So yeah, we've been together for a while.
Just love a little uni story, so good.
Yeah, yeah. Literally spent our whole 20s together, which is crazy to think
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Let's grow up together a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good. So, yeah, you dated for a while and then got engaged. Can you tell me a bit about that proposal story?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we got engaged back in 2019. So that feels like a while ago now. But yeah, so we'd obviously talked about getting engaged, and I knew it was coming. I didn't know when it was going to happen. I didn't know when you got a ring made or anything like that. And so on the actual day, well, the day before, my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law had suggested we go get our nails done, which wasn't like too out of the blue because it was something that we did do together. But I did get a little, oh, maybe it's happening. So we got our nails done, and then on the day, like I think everyone was acting like a little bit funny, and then Vinny had suggested that we go like out on a walk, and it was a Sunday, and we were like, and I was like, oh, like I'm feeling I kind of don't really want to do anything today. I just kind of want to chill. And he was like, no, like let's go. So we went out to oh my gosh, what's the name of the place? Mangawhai. And we went to a beach, and he'd had this like amazing little setup with like a gorgeous kind of like picnic and a platter. And he had like little photos of us kind of like staged around, and he'd found like a lovely little nook. And yeah, we like walked into there, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then he was like down on one knee and he proposed.
Oh, so special. Love that. Such a beautiful setting and yeah, cute. Set up like a
Yeah.
little picnic vibe or yeah, have that moment together.
Yeah, it was super, super sweet, and it was really special. And I loved that it was just us two. It was very secluded, and out of the way from anyone else. So yeah, it was really nice.
And so had you always been one of those girls that dreamed about what your wedding would look like? And yeah, did you have a certain vision in mind in terms of what you wanted? And yeah, what were those kind of first steps, finding a venue, all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always, I suppose I've always like wanted, the big wedding, I wanted the big dress. I think my personality just in general, like I just, I love to be bold. I love to be really, really out there. So, yeah, having a big wedding, and celebrating it in the best way we could was always something that I wanted to do. So I think like, we got engaged and we pretty much started planning pretty immediately. So we kind of, the first things that we did was we locked in our venue and photographer, hearing advice from other people. Those are kind of the two main things that everyone's like, make sure you do that as soon as possible. And once you've got those two things locked in, everything else kind of falls into place. For us, it was like a little bit different because we were having like an Indian wedding and a Western wedding. So we had kind of two venues to find. And with that, we ended up finding like two photographers to kind of do each day. So there was like, an extra workload, I suppose, attached to that, which is one of the reasons why we started planning the wedding quite early. With Indian weddings, they are, they go over a few days. So, there was a lot to plan and a lot of different moving pieces to get together. But yeah, we got there eventually.
Nice. So did you end up going to a few different venues or yeah, what did you end up choosing there?
Yeah, so we did. For the Indian wedding, well, actually for both weddings, we knew that the vibe we wanted was quite an outdoorsy, summery vibe. For Indian weddings, it was maybe a little bit different. A lot of Indian weddings, and I think this is just because of the sheer volume of people that attend the weddings, and catering and everything like that. They're normally hosted in indoor. There's like a few really popular places around Auckland, and they're awesome venues. It was just Vinny and I kind of had just, had this idea of an outdoor beautiful wedding. So we went to a few different places. We went to, I can't actually remember all the different places we went to, but ended up going to the Formosa Golf Club, and we fell in love with that for the Indian wedding just because there was a really lovely like outdoor vibe that we could achieve, as well as having an indoor outdoor flow. And then for the Western wedding, we had gone to a few different places. Gosh, again, I actually can't remember where we went to. It was quite a long time ago, but we ended up landing on the Sculptureum out in Matakana, and that was really beautiful. I really loved the Sculptureum because, again, it had kind of different pockets, outdoor. There was like the sculpture garden. There was, another couple of gardens. There was like a really cool like outdoor area, and then a really beautiful big room that almost felt like a gallery because they had like beautiful artwork and stuff, plastered on the wall. So, yeah, we kind of fell in love with that. It felt a little bit different. I felt like we could have like a more like individual. We could really like cater it to what we wanted to. Like we could customize it the way that we wanted to achieve, the vibe that we wanted to. So we fell in love with the Sculpturium and yeah, locked that in for the Western wedding.
Nice. Oh, such a beautiful spot. And yeah, it's cool to have sort of different spaces as a part of the venue to, yeah, create a bit of a journey, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that we also, because we were very conscious, like we did our photos after the ceremony. So we wanted our guests to have something to do. So with both venues, we were kind of able to achieve that. Although with the Indian wedding, we didn't end up having it at the Formosa because this is actually one of the worst parts of the wedding journey, of the wedding planning journey, was we had everything all locked and loaded to be at the Formosa, and then 4 months out of the wedding, when Vinny and I were actually in India doing shopping for the Indian wedding, and we saw something on the news that the council had like temporarily, not temporarily, but they kind of closed down the Formosa because of a few issues that were going on. And it was an absolute nightmare because it was a 350 person wedding. We were 4 months out from the wedding date. All the invites, we'd already set the date, and all of those pieces had already been confirmed. And we're like, how are we going to find a venue 4 months out? Like, we're getting married in January, which is one of the most popular months for weddings. That can also cater to 350 people and cater to our catering requirements for the Indian wedding. So we ended up finding the Wrights water garden, and that was it ended up being really beautiful, and we were able to achieve that outdoor vibe, and our guests were able to also kind of do something while we were taking photos. There's a beautiful garden, there's a beautiful walkway, an amazing waterfall for people to go check out. So yeah, it all worked out, but that was definitely a bit of a hiccup in the road.
Oh, that's so stressful, just so unexpected and out of your control. And yeah, I can imagine that it's a tricky thing to find that far out and for that many people as well. So
Yeah, I know. I'm so thankful.
what were the most like important elements of the day when it came to you, your sort of top priorities, if you had to choose a few?
I think like the style and the outfits, I think, and the overall like cohesiveness across the bridal party was something that like Vinny and I really cared about. Like, I'm super into like fashion, and we really wanted to make sure that everyone looked really cool and we had a really cohesive vibe. From a styling perspective, that was super important. And then I think like the food as well, like we're huge foodies, so we wanted to make sure that we had amazing food and a really cool just a really cool like vibe around the food, whether it was like canapes and entrees leading into dinner. Like, we wanted to ensure that the food was really, really good, and we're really lucky, like both on both days we had impeccable food, and we're really happy with that. And then I think the other thing was just like, we just wanted to ensure that the order of things on the day flowed like really nicely and really seamlessly. Like, the last thing we wanted on the day were hiccups around, who's meant to be doing what or what's meant to be happening now. So ahead of each day, we tried to be as prepared as possible. We tried to, make sure we had certain people in charge of certain things to make sure that everything, ran as smoothly as possible, which did end up happening. So yeah, which is good.
Yeah, oh, so important. Yeah, getting all that timeline stuff right. And did you work with a planner as well, or just kind of had like family members and point people for that?
We did have a kind of planner, not an official wedding planner, but he was our photographer and videographer for the Indian wedding, and he kind of ended up morphing into a bit of a wedding planner for the day. And he was amazing, but we had a lot of family support wrapped around us for the Indian wedding. Obviously, it is a massive affair. So we had a lot of support through like direct family and friends as well to ensure that the day ran really smoothly. And for the Western wedding, the Sculptureum were honestly like amazing. They appointed, and kind of an account manager who essentially turned into a wedding planner for the day. She was impeccable. She made sure that everyone was where they needed to be. All of the suppliers were on time and did what they needed to do. So we're really thankful for that.
Nice. Yeah, so helpful. So you don't have to
Yeah.
stress about all those little things for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And can you tell me a bit about your wedding outfits? I imagine you had a few for your wedding week in different events, but yeah, what was that process like finding them, getting them made?
Yeah, so we did have a few different outfits. So we did our Indian wedding shopping in India, which was an amazing experience alone. It was my first time in traveling to India, and I absolutely loved it. We ended up doing pretty much all the outfit shopping for both the Indian wedding and the Western wedding there. So, the great thing about India, they've got like, amazing an amazing like host of like fabrics, like beautiful, beautiful fabrics to choose from, and amazing craftsmanship when it comes to sewing and whatnot. So we ended up getting all of the suits made for all the groomsmen. We got Vinny's suit made there. I got all my bridesmaids outfits made there as well. And I ended up getting my Western wedding dress made there too. So I had designed the Western wedding dress, and we found this amazing designer and seamstress who was able to kind of bring it to life, which was really, really cool. I also ended up getting my Indian wedding outfit through her as well. So it all worked out really well. One thing in India, it is a little bit stressful, when it comes to working towards timelines. People can be a little bit, casual about it, I suppose. So I ended up having my first and last fitting the day before we flew out of India for my Western wedding dress, which was stressful at the time, but the designer, like, she knew exactly what she was doing. So thankfully there were only very minor tweaks that had to be made, and she was able to do that on the day. So yeah, it was a really special experience. I absolutely loved traveling through India and doing the shopping for the wedding. It was super unique, and we were able to, get outfits made and suits made that we felt were really individual to us, and really, like, unique to us for the wedding, which was really cool.
So good, such a special experience, and yeah, nice to
Yeah.
get something really customized to you. So love that. Did you have a bridal party, and how did you find that process choosing them? Was that easy?
I did. So I had four bridesmaids, and yeah, it was really easy choosing them. They're all very close, very dear friends. One of them was like my oldest friend from high school, and then the others were kind of my sister-in-law and my best friends from uni. So yeah, it was super easy. It was a really natural fit. We all got on really well, and yeah, it was really special having them there with me on the day.
And how about the guest list? You touched on it for the Indian wedding, but was that the same numbers for the Western wedding as well, or how did you find that? Was it difficult to narrow numbers down across all those events?
Yeah, so with the Indian wedding, yeah, it was, we had around 350, and then for the Western wedding there was like 130 people, so there was quite a big difference between the two. Yeah, it is really hard making those decisions. Obviously you kind of want everyone to be there and you want to be able to celebrate with everyone, but in most cases that's just not feasible. But I think, like, ultimately, we're really lucky. Like, yes, we had to balance kind of like family and friends, and invites from, our parents and whatnot. But everyone was really understanding. I think, as you should be, when it comes to weddings and being invited to weddings. I don't think anyone's entitled to be at a wedding or entitled to be invited to a wedding. And if you don't make the cut, you should respect that, and respect that it's the couple's decision, and understand that, while they probably would love to have you there, they can't have everyone there. So I think, like, we were really lucky in that we had people who were that understanding when it came to the guest list. So yeah, it was definitely hard. And the table seatings was another thing that was really hard. Like, we spent ages, like, agonizing on, okay, these people should sit here, but it would be great if they could sit next to that person because we think they'll get on really well together, and trying to balance people who might not know lots of people and seating them with the right people. So that's a whole other thing. Yeah, and it takes a bit of time. It's definitely not something that I think you can do overnight.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a process, but super helpful when, yeah, your family and friends are understanding. And as you say, people should be because, yeah, you can't have everyone, unfortunately. And can you tell us a bit about your wedding week, how it all went down, and yeah, any like highlights or favorite moment?
Yeah, so with the Indian wedding, that spanned across 4 days. And that was a really beautiful experience. So for those days, Vinny and I aren't together. We kind of have our own respective ceremonies, and things that we do on each side. And yeah, it was really beautiful and really special. It allowed me to spend, like, a lot of, one-on-one time with my family and immediate family, and kind of do, a few traditional things from our side of the family, which was really special. It's really interesting, like, going into it. I'd always dreamed of my, the Western wedding. I think, like, I'd always dreamed of having, like, the big, white dress, and with the Indian wedding, I didn't really know as much what to expect. But I ended up, like, the Indian wedding was, I think, my highlight of the whole week. It was just like it was so beautiful and bright and colorful, and the energy, and the everything's just so sentimental. Like, there are so many thoughtfully crafted like steps as part of the ceremony, and it's really special. And I loved being part of that, and I loved having that as part of our wedding journey. Typically at Indian weddings, you don't really serve alcohol, but we ended up serving a bit of alcohol. We had some drinks after the ceremony and stuff, but we all just ended up getting like quite drunk. But it was just like one of those, like, like when you have an unexpected kind of like, tipsy or drunk night, they're always like the best because you didn't expect it, and everyone was just like on such a good vibe. Everyone was just so happy, and yeah, it was so much fun. But then I was a little bit hungover for the Western wedding the next day, which in hindsight wasn't the best move.
Oh, so good though. Sounds like it was amazing. And yeah, anything from the Western wedding then? How did that all go?
Yeah, everything went really smoothly, apart from being a bit dusty in the morning. We, like, the girls and I had an amazing time getting ready and having lots of fun getting ready. And we had an amazing makeup artist on the day. And yeah, that was really, really fun. And then yeah, I think, like, again, like all the people that we had at the Western wedding were also at the Indian wedding, so they'd all come from the day before, and everyone was on the same, vibe and energy. It was really, really fun. And yeah, it was it was just beautiful. And like our photographers on the day as well did such an amazing job at capturing all these little special moments. So being able to look back on the photos of that day, they kind of turned out exactly how I imagined it, with the Sculptureum and all the different areas that we took photos in, kind of introduced a different aesthetic, and we were able to get quite different photos across those different areas. And that was, yeah, it was really, really cool.
So nice. And yeah, did you find anything hard about the wedding planning process, or is there anything you look back on and regret or do a bit differently? Obviously, the last minute venue
Yeah,
change a bit stressful, but yeah, other than that.
yeah. Yeah, that was definitely the most stressful part. But I think overall, I think one thing that I really struggled with kind of reconciling was like, there are parts of the wedding planning process that are stressful and it's overwhelming, and there's quite a few different things to think about, and you've also got this added pressure being like, you only get one chance at this, so you've got to make it perfect. And then I think, like, anytime I wasn't enjoying the process, or anytime I just wanted to like give it up and just like elope, I felt like kind of guilty, because I was like, you should be enjoying this, like this is like, a once in a lifetime journey that you're going to go through. You're only going to do this once. Like, you should be enjoying every moment of it. Like, don't get so sad about it. But I think, like, one important thing is like just to accept that it's not all going to be like rainbows and sunshine. There are going to be things that come along that are going to be, imperfect, or they're going to make you feel sad or stressed, or overwhelmed. And it's just natural. Like, it's natural to feel those emotions. And don't, I think, like, I felt really guilty about feeling those emotions, where in hindsight I should have just been like, look, I just need to lean into it, this is part of the process, it's all part of it, and at the end of it, it's all going to be worth it. So yeah, that's probably one thing that kind of sticks out as like an ongoing thing throughout the whole wedding planning process for me.
Hindsight's beautiful, to just look back and say that, but yeah, it's great for people to hear that advice so they can try and put it in practice if they're in the thick of it at the moment. And yeah, that it is going to have its stressful moments, sometimes hard to avoid, but yeah, much as you can avoid the guilt around that.
Yeah, 100%.
And did you guys go on honeymoon straight away? What did planning that look like?
So we were planning to go to Japan for our honeymoon, but we hadn't booked anything in, which thankfully we hadn't, because literally a month and a bit afterwards, we were in lockdown. So we had our wedding at the end of January in 2020, and yeah, we were in lockdown, as we all know, not that long after that. So we didn't end up going to Japan that year, but we were really fortunate in that my sister-in-law very generously had gifted us a trip to Raro kind of straight after the wedding as her wedding gift to us. So we were able to do that. And so we did that the week after the wedding. We spent 4 days in Raro, and it was just super relaxing. We didn't do anything apart from like read and just spend quality time with each other and just kind of de-stress from the wedding week. And that was really beautiful. And I'm so grateful that we had that, because we literally obviously went into lockdown and we weren't able to do anything or move anywhere for that whole year. So yeah, that ended up being our honeymoon.
Amazing. So nice to just go somewhere really chill and relaxing. And yeah, you're so lucky with the timing there that you didn't have to navigate any of that with your wedding because yeah, it's really
Oh my gosh.
just before like the world shut down, which is crazy looking back on it.
I know. We're so so grateful. Like it could have been a completely different story, you know, especially with the Indian wedding with so many people coming and we had people coming from overseas. Like, oh gosh, I don't. Yeah, I really, my heart goes out to all those couples that had to postpone their weddings or you know completely change the course of their weddings due to COVID. So yeah, we're really, really, really lucky and really, really blessed and grateful that we didn't have to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And was there any, if you can remember, like helpful websites, apps, different resources that you used during the planning process, just for like finding vendors and all of that?
Honestly, I think like when it came to finding vendors, I had followed a lot of wedding photographers in New Zealand. So I think the best way for me to find like you know venues was to look at their photos and find you know venues that I felt like fit our vibe, and then go and like do research that way. And then honestly, just in terms of other resources, Pinterest was just the best for inspo. And I think because we definitely wanted to craft our own kind of our own wedding, and so pulling inspiration from all these different sources via Pinterest was just the best and probably the most useful resource. I know that sounds really basic, but that's the one that I leaned on the most, and I had all these boards for everything, and yeah, that's pretty much yeah the one that sticks out, the one that sticks out for me.
Yeah, such a good one. And yeah, it's always recommended, but for good reason. And so good that you can just kind of pull all your different ideas into different boards and visualize it
Yeah,
all. So yeah,
exactly, and like the shareability of it is so good as well. You know, just being able to easily share that with, you know, the makeup artist for makeup inspo and the photographers for different shots that we wanted to get. Like it was just super easy, and yeah, I leaned very heavily into Pinterest during that time.
so good, super helpful. And yeah, from a bride's perspective, is there any advice that you would give to couples planning their wedding at the moment?
I think yeah the key piece of advice was around the you know just let yourself feel the feelings. You know you're going to feel a range of different emotions throughout the wedding planning process, and it's okay to feel those emotions. Just lean into it, and you know just trust that it will all work out in the end, and it literally always does. I think any bride you'll talk to, they'll be like, you know, we're so worried about this, we're so stressed about this, and on the day either those things didn't matter or those things worked out exactly as they should have. So yeah, just let yourself feel the things and just trust that everything will be okay at the end. And then I think one thing as well is it's really easy to get caught up in the idea of wanting everything to be perfect and you know wanting to have control over every single little thing. I think the earlier that you can accept that not everything is going to be perfect, like on the day that that idea and your version of perfect will just change. You know, it will be whatever ended up happening on the day. So just yeah, just try to let go of a few things. You know, understand when it's worth fighting over something or when it's worth letting things go. And just yeah, have that perspective. I think throughout the journey is really important.
What is married life like now? Do you feel like you got any of those post wedding blues?
Married life, honestly, is the exact same as what it was before we were married. I think like our dynamic hasn't changed and it didn't really change, which I think is a good thing. So yeah, honestly, like there's really no difference. And in terms of the post wedding blues, like honestly, no, I didn't really get them. I think like the wedding week was amazing and it was so beautiful and like I had the best time and I'll cherish it forever. But when it was over, I was like, yeah, this is like I'm ready for it to be over. I think like it's had its natural course and now it's finished, and I think I was ready to just move on and just kind of get on with our lives together and not think about the wedding every day. I think I was pretty ready for that. So yeah.
Nice. Oh, so good. So cool to hear all about your experience. Cool. So you, yeah, if you can sort of tell us a bit about your background, how you got started. I don't know if you were in the industry sort of when you were planning your wedding as well, if that sparked anything. But yeah, just tell us a bit about that journey and what's led you to where you are today?
Yeah, so my background isn't rooted in fine jewelry or jewelry design. I studied law and accounting. I was a lawyer for a bit, and I think like the journey of us starting Forwards really started with my own proposal story. So when Vinny was looking to propose, he had heard of lab grown diamonds, and he had kind of decided that he wanted to get a lab grown diamond for my engagement ring. And this was 5 years ago. So at the time, lab grown diamonds were still a relatively new concept, and I hadn't heard of them before. So Vinny kind of educated me on what they were, and as soon as he had told me, what they were, I was like, oh, like hell yes, this is a no-brainer. Let's do it. But at the time, it was actually quite difficult to find a jeweler in New Zealand who would be able to source a lab-grown diamond and craft the ring for us. We eventually ended up finding someone and getting the ring done, but that process just ended up being a lot more involved and a lot more stressful than what we felt it needed to be. So we kind of had that experience, and then about a year later, one of our friends was looking to get engaged. We had told them about lab grown diamonds, and they were keen to get a lab grown diamond. We helped them get their ring made using lab grown diamonds. And then we were like, okay, actually, maybe this could be the start of something. Like, maybe there are other people that would also be interested. And that really is just kind of how it started. We helped a couple other friends get it done, and it just snowballed from there.
So cool. Such an amazing thing to have. And yeah, I love that there's a bit more education around it now. Definitely thanks to you guys as well in New Zealand. So
Oh,
um,
thank you.
yeah, so cool. Can you yeah, talk a little bit about the process when a couple works with you guys, gets their rings made, and yeah, the lead up to the wedding? What does that look like if someone wants to work with you?
Yeah, so to get an engagement ring made, or any piece of fine jewelry, we follow a pretty simple four-step process. So the first process is always going to be a meeting, like a consultation with one of our jewelry consultants, and this can be either in person at our showroom, which is based in Auckland, or for the out of Aucklanders, we also do a lot of virtual consultations just online. And during that consultation, that really is an opportunity for our clients to get all the information that they need, and for us to get necessary information from them in order to pull things together, like a rough quote, and timelines and things like that. So in that meeting, the key things are talking about timelines, budget, and of course the design that they could potentially be wanting. And if there are particular reference images or anything around the design that the clients can give us at this point to help us understand what their vision is, that's great. Some couples don't have this, and that's totally fine as well. We've got over 50 different samples of rings in our office that we can have our clients try on, or we can show during the virtual appointments, and to help them narrow in on the kind of designs, stone cuts that they might like. And then from there, we head into the design phase. So design phase is where our in-house designers and head of design kind of pull together different concepts based on the brief for the client, and we offer unlimited revisions at this stage, to really just kind of allow our clients to provide as much feedback as they want around the design, to ensure that the final design we land on is something they really, really love. And then the third step is we go on to stone sourcing and 3D CAD modeling. So we work really closely with our gemologist partners to source the diamond, the best diamond or other stone for our clients based on their budget and the design. And we also pull up 3D CAD modeling. So we do 3D CADs of all the ring designs, which show exactly what the ring is going to look like on hand and in person. So it really just helps give a photorealistic understanding of what the design is going to look like. And once we've confirmed the stones and we've confirmed those 3D designs with our client, we then move on to production. So production takes around 6 to 8 weeks. And by the end of that, our clients have their, dream engagement ring.
Love that. And getting to, yeah, sort of visualize it before it's made as well. So good.
Yeah, no, it is. It is a really fun process. And I think, our one thing that we really want to ensure is that the process is as seamless and as fun as possible. I think like, designing a custom engagement ring should be one of the most exciting and fun experiences that you'll get to do in your lifetime. So we try to make it as stress-free and seamless and as fun as possible. And I think like we've got a pretty good process now that ensures that.
Love that. And yeah, can you talk a little bit more about lab grown diamonds? Why are they so great? And yeah, what's a bit of the difference between mined and lab grown? And yeah, why do you think more people are choosing them these days?
Yeah, so with lab grown diamonds, they are obviously grown in a lab, but they are, physically, optically, exactly the same as a natural diamond. The only difference between a natural diamond and a lab grown diamond is how they're made. So, like aesthetically and everything, they're going to look, exactly the same as a natural diamond, provided that you've got a good quality lab grown diamond. And I think, in terms of the shift in market, I mean, I think when we started the business, which was 3 years ago, there was a huge education piece that we had to commit to. We had to really educate people on what lab grown diamonds were, you know, why they were a great alternative to natural diamonds, and the advantages of going with lab grown. And now the conversation is completely different. We've got our clients reach out to us because they know that we are experts in lab grown diamonds. Like they already know they want a lab grown diamond, and we just get to talk about design and do all that fun stuff with them. So that shift and market has been enormous, and it's been insane to witness. And I think, the reason why lab grown diamonds have become so popular is mainly around the sustainability and the price factor. In terms of price, they are around 40% or less the cost of their natural equivalent. So a lab grown diamond engagement ring will be around 40% or less the cost of the equivalent in natural, which is massive, when you think about it, especially when, people are, going to be planning weddings, and that's a whole other big expense that they've got to, embark on. So it's really amazing because it unlocks so many more opportunities for couples, which is the fun part for us, because it means that, our couples can either get, a bigger stone for their budget, or they can, save money and allocate that money towards something else. So, and most couples end up getting just a bigger stone for their budget, which I love. You can really see couples being like, oh my God, now I can actually get the ring of my dreams, and it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg. And that's just a really fun, and that's like the best part for us, just seeing that feeling when our couples get to get, their dream engagement ring. And on the sustainability factor, all of our lab grown diamonds are sustainably and ethically sourced. And what that means is our jewellery on average has around 7 times less environmental impact, compared to mined gemstones, which again is a massive amount. And we actually also go one step further, and we offset our carbon emissions. So any impact that we can't minimize, we offset by over 500%, through carbon click. So yeah, I think with the generational shift, and how important things like sustainability has become, that's definitely another factor, that has contributed to the success and the growth of lab grown diamonds in market.
Yeah, that's incredible to see that you're setting your business up like that from the get-go. It's so important. And yeah, I just don't know why you wouldn't go the lab grown way. I know there's a lot of problematic things about the natural diamond industry as well. And so, yeah, you kind of want to think about like, where's that rock on your finger come from? And that whole
Yeah,
process. Have you, yeah, looked after the earth as well? So, yeah, I love that
yeah.
that's a focus, and yeah, that more people are learning about them and going down that route now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, it's just been an insane shift in market, and it's been really awesome to see.
So cool. And can you talk a bit about ballpark figure in terms of pricing? It's obviously so different for everyone depending what kind of ring you get, but yeah, maybe sort of a standard engagement ring wedding band combo. I know there's like all these old rules about the guy spending 3 months of his salary or whatever it is that you have to budget for, but yeah, is there sort of a thing you can guide people with that numbers wise?
Yeah, 100%. So, like you said, it always is just going to come down to the design. But the average spend, across what we've seen, for an engagement ring is around the $5,000 mark. And then, when it comes to wedding bands, again, it really just depends on the design. But for a woman's wedding band, if it's just a kind of more of a plain band, we're looking at around $900 to $1,000. If you're adding things like diamonds, or if you're having quite a thick band where we're using more metal, then we're looking at the $1,800 to $2,000 mark. For men's wedding bands, we would be looking at around $2,000. But again, it just depends on how much metal is used and how thick the band is. The more thick it is, obviously, the more metal is used and the more expensive it's going to be.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, what do you think people should look out for when they're choosing their wedding jewelry? Obviously, go lab grown if you can. Yeah, any tips you can give there?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely like a few things. I think from a design perspective, when you are choosing your engagement ring and your wedding band, you know, I think it's really important to think about what you want that overall aesthetic to look like. So, a lot of people will do their engagement rings first and then wedding bands further down the track. And I think like that's totally fine. But I think that as you're designing or, getting your engagement ring, think about what you want your wedding band to be like as well and how that might look with your engagement ring. Because your engagement ring design is going to determine, what your wedding band will be. One of the key things here is around whether your ring is high set or low set. If it's a low set ring, then that means that if you want your wedding band to sit flush with your engagement ring, you're going to have to get either a curved or an open wedding band. And if you really wanted just a straight wedding band, then that's kind of not an option for you. So, it's really important just to think about these things and take that into consideration as you're designing your engagement ring. We have a lot of couples that design their engagement ring and their wedding band at the same time. So during our design concept phase, we will design them together, show how they're going to look together, and then they'll buy the engagement ring, and then further down the track they'll buy the wedding bands that we design. So they don't need to buy it at the same time, but at least they've taken that overall aesthetic into consideration as they design their engagement ring. And I think that's really helpful and just really useful to do. And then I think the other big kind of tip or piece of advice is, I mean, there's a few different things, but I think like one thing when it comes to choosing your wedding jewelry, and your engagement ring and bridal set, is a lot of people assume that going custom is more expensive than buying off the shelf. I think, and that's a fair assumption to make, but in most cases, that's not true. We've had so many clients come through and they're so pleasantly surprised when we quote them and they realize that the quote is, as much or actually even less than the prices that they were quoted when they were shopping off the shelf. So I think like if you do, find a design that you absolutely love, definitely go and get a quote to get it custom made. You'll be pleasantly surprised. And then it means that you get to, add little customizations or personalizations to make that ring even more individual to you, and that ring was crafted for you, which makes it even that much more special.
Amazing, that's great advice. I think I don't know, there's like a bit of mystery around the jewelry industry for some people, and these sort of assumptions that they have. So have you noticed any trends lately this kind of season, or yes, people say it's engagement season over kind of the summer and like Christmas holidays, there's a lot of engagements, but have you noticed any trends with stones or different cuts, what people are going for lately?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most obvious one that we've seen trending is the oval cut and the oval solitaire style. I think that has been our most popular, and we've seen that absolutely dominate over the past year, 2 years. I do think the oval solitaire is going to phase out a little bit. I still think it's always going to be a super popular and well loved design, just because it is timeless and it is beautiful. I think we're seeing emerald cuts on the rise a little bit. I think we have Sophia Ritchie Grange to thank for that. And I do love an emerald cut. Again, it's very timeless, but it can also add quite a modern feel to your ring. A little bit of a wild card, but I think an elongated cushion is something we're going to see trending a lot more. We've seen elongated cushions kind of pop up a little bit in like the celebrity space. And we've seen some really kind of like beautiful high-end designers across the world really embrace an elongated cushion in some of their bespoke pieces. And yeah, I think it's got that elongation, which I think people love about ovals and emeralds. And it's got that sparkle, that brilliant sparkle, which an oval has, but it's not an oval. So I think that we are going to see that trending a lot more. And then I think the only other thing that I would say is skinny bands used to be like super trendy and super popular. I think we're going to see skinny bands phase out a little bit, and we're going to see people introduce more thicker, more bolder bands into their engagement rings. Yeah, I think like people were really drawn to the skinny bands because it helped make their center stone look larger, which it does. But I think, with introduction of lab grown diamonds and other diamond alternatives, now, people have a lot more opportunity to get the size that they want to get and get a bigger stone. So yeah, I think, bring back the thicker, more secure bands.
Yeah, I love that look. So good. You've given a lot of amazing advice, but yeah, do you have anything else you want to say from the ring perspective, I guess, for couples planning their wedding at the moment? Any other advice?
Yeah, I think like particularly when it comes to choosing your engagement ring, I think like there are like a couple mistakes that we have seen other clients make, or other couples make, and they're easy mistakes to avoid. So I may as well talk about them. So I think one of them is, there's this really traditional idea that the person proposing shouldn't involve, their other partner in the process. They want it all to be a big surprise. But I think, that the best success stories are when the couples design the ring together. They do that, they go through that journey together. They both can ensure that each person is getting, exactly what they want. It's also a really fun thing to do together. It's really special. It's something that you'll remember forever and you'll cherish forever as part of your engagement and wedding story. And you can always ensure that the proposal is still a surprise. We have lots of couples who design the ring together. Once the design is confirmed, one person kind of leaves the conversation and the other person manages all the production bits and all the comms up until when the ring is made and when it's delivered, so that the proposal and the timing and what the ring actually looks like in person can still be a surprise. So in my opinion, the ring shouldn't be a surprise. The proposal should be. So I think like don't be scared about going on that journey together and involving the other person and making the most of that special time together. And then I think the other piece of advice is we've seen a lot of, particularly in the lab grown diamond space, because they've become so popular. We've definitely seen a lot of other growers in the market prop up, and it kind of leads to quite a lot of imperfect or poor quality lab grown diamonds on the market. So if you do want lab grown diamonds, I think like my one piece of advice would be to avoid the websites where you go and you select your stone, you select the setting, you select the metal, because a lot of the stones on those websites, like the specs will look great. They'll have a great color grade, they'll have a great clarity grade, but there are defects that just don't show up in a grading report. The most common one we see is gray tones. So there's something that happens when a lab grown diamond has been poorly made and they get something called like gray tones, and it just means that the diamond isn't that beautiful. It doesn't have that icy white finish, even though the color grade will be a really good one. It'll still have those gray tones, and it just totally changes the whole aesthetic of your diamond. There's another thing that can happen, which is around CVD strains and striations, and that again happens when the diamond hasn't been made great, and then the diamond looks quite blurry and it doesn't have that really crisp, brilliant finish. So, and it's really hard for the average consumer to pick up on these things. You don't know what you don't know. The best that you can do is look at the stone, look at the grading report, and if all those little things kind of match up and align up, you're not going to know any better. So I, genuinely, and I'm not just saying this because, to be biased to what we do, but it is really important that you do work with a jeweler who you trust to source the perfect stone for you and your budget. Because if you do try to do it yourself, you could easily get tricked into, buying a stone that's just not that good.
Yeah, that's great advice. Definitely, yeah, try and go to a trusted place. Can't trust everyone out there, so do your research and do it in person if you can. But yeah, I love that advice around designing it together, and you can still have the surprise proposal as well. I think if someone's kind of planning to wear that really special piece for the rest of their life, then it's great if they can have some say in it, and yeah, fun process to just work on together for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. And so, yeah, what's next for words? Any future plans or things we can look out for? I definitely encourage everyone to follow you on Instagram and TikTok. You put up so many amazing videos that are
Oh,
really
thank you.
inspiring and informative. So definitely go
Oh,
and
thanks.
check those out.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of exciting things happening this year. Our team is growing, which is very exciting. So we are moving into a larger space in the CBD very soon in the next couple months. So we're really excited about that. We're actually in the middle of a rebrand at the moment, which is super super exciting. So Forwards is going to have a different look and feel very soon. We're still the same business, but yeah, we are going to look a bit different. But we're really excited for that to go live. And then I think, like, looking into the next year and a half or 2 years, a move to Australia might be on the cards. It's definitely something we see in our future at some point. But we'll just kind of keep doing what we're doing and see how things go. And yeah.
Amazing. So cool. Excited to watch you progress. And I know, yeah, it's just going to keep getting bigger and better. Such a cool concept. And yeah, so lovely to chat to you about it.
Oh, thank you.
And I know you have a few other like project business things on the side with your nails. And yeah, did you want to like touch on that as well? Because I feel like that's quite aligned for brides as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I do have another, kind of side business. It's called Birdie. We do press-on nails, super high quality, salon quality and modern press-on nails. So I kind of was introduced to press-on nails through Forwards because I do all of our photography and our content, and I want my nails to look nice in the content when I'm, photographing and videoing all of our beautiful rings. So I always wanted to have my nails done, but I also hated getting my nails done. Hated how weak and damaged my nails felt every time I got my nails done. I also hated how expensive it was and how long it took at the salon. So I was really looking for an alternative. And then I was following someone on TikTok overseas, and they were talking about how they've only ever used press-on nails. And my original idea and, like, connotation of press-on nails were kind of like the tacky, really poor quality nails that you'd see at like a pharmacy. And so I was like, oh, really? And then I tried some press on nails, and I was like, wow, this is actually like a game changer. Like, this is life changing because it's a great price point. They're under $30. They're reusable. They look great. And with the evolution of press on nails now, you can just get so many amazing designs and super high quality nails that last up to 3 weeks. And so, I obviously fell in love and I found it so life changing. So I decided to kind of start my own business around it. And yeah, that was a really exciting business to launch. And yeah, there's a lot of alignment with, the engagement and bridal space. So yeah, if definitely if you want, some pretty nails for the proposal, or even just, for on the day, honestly, press on nails are just such an amazing way to go. They're my ride or die now, like, genuinely.
So good. I love that. I definitely need to try them. I've like done gels on and off for years, and my
Yeah,
nails are so ruined. I'm literally like having a break from them at the moment, but I keep
yeah.
seeing all these amazing other options with, yeah, press on sounds so good. So I definitely have to get some of those.
Yeah, no, I 100% recommend. Yeah, they're just like, they don't damage your nails. Like, I had the exact same issue with you. My nails have always naturally been really strong, and they just were always so weak and fragile, and I just hated it. So, highly recommend.
Yes, love that. And I feel like once you're in your fiance era, you always want your nails looking good with your ring, and then engagement, hens, all those different events. So yeah, great option for that.
That's so true. Yeah.
And do you have a clothing label as well? I'm trying to think any other,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
projects, things on the go. Busy
yeah.
woman, but I love it.
Oh, yeah, no, I do. I have a loungewear brand for men and women. So I started that, I kind of started designing that and like building that brand during COVID. I've always wanted to start something in the fashion and clothing space, and I was just really feeling loungewear. So yeah, so I started this brand. It's all really just around creating super high quality trans seasonal loungewear that will just last a lifetime. So yeah, that's been an awesome journey. That was kind of, alongside Forwards, that was, the other big business that really introduced me into the world of, owning a business and building a business. So that's been a remarkable journey as well. So yeah, if you're looking for some super cozy, super soft, durable loungewear, definitely check 5 to 9 out.
So good. We'll definitely tag all of those in the show notes and online as well. But yeah,
Oh, thank
just
you.
a bit nosy, but I love to hear about what people are up to in business. And yeah, you're definitely an inspiration. So lovely to
Oh,
chat to you.
thank you so much. That's so kind. Likewise, so nice to connect and chat with you as well.
Is there anything else you want to add as we wrap up? Advice for engaged people, or yeah, anything you want to end on there?
No, I think like, I've kind of I think I've covered off all the main points. Yeah, I think like, the main things is just, enjoy it, take every chance you can to really embrace and immerse yourself in this special journey, whether that's, designing your engagement ring, or, all the wedding planning side, and, just yeah, be easy on yourself as well. Not everything is going to be perfect when it comes to your wedding, and that's like totally okay. Like I said before, your version of perfect just changes, on the day, and whatever ends up happening, will be perfect, and it will be exactly what you want. So yeah.
Amazing. Love that. It's been so cool to chat to you. And yeah, definitely, again, just recommend going and following for more amazing advice from Shivana and Forwards and everything else going on. So
Oh,
yeah, thank you so much.
thank you so much for having me. This was super fun.